Welcome friends. Today we will be discussing about inclusive pre-service teacher training. You might be aware that to become a teacher in a school, we need to undergo a professional pre-service training course, just like we go for training to become an engineer or to become a doctor. Similarly, teachers also need to go through a pre-service teacher training professional programs. And as you are aware that nowadays in our schools, we are opening our doors to more and more children with special needs. When I am saying children with special needs, they are the children with physical disabilities. They might have some problem with their speech, they might have some problem with their vision, or they may not be able to see properly. Or we may have children who are coming from disadvantaged sections of the society, and might be many children who are first generation learners, meaning nobody in their family before them has gone to school. All these children and many more, which I might be forgetting to name right now, but we'll discuss them one by one. They are all called children with special needs. Now, once our schools are opening their doors to children with special needs, we need teachers trained in the methodology to teach them in the regular classrooms, along with teaching of other subjects like geography, mathematics and all. And for this, my question that I'll be discussing today is, are our teacher training courses prepared to train teachers who can deal with diverse needs or children with special needs in the regular classrooms? Let's see, why do we need inclusive pre-service teacher training? We need inclusive pre-service teacher training because our regular teachers are finding children with special needs seated in their classrooms along with other students who may not have special needs. The pre-service professional teacher training that they get prior to entry in the classroom or school as a professional, it doesn't prepare them to understand the learning needs of children with special needs. Also, they do not know how to adapt teaching learning activities so that children with special needs feel included in the learning process. Plus, they also need to know how to work in collaboration with the special teachers and therapists. All this is about the regular teachers who has taught us mathematics, languages, history, geography. These regular teachers need to know how to adapt their teaching learning material so that children with special needs can also participate just like their other students who doesn't have any special needs. Similarly, in the regular schools right now we are finding special teachers also. Now, who are these special teachers? Special teachers are the teachers who got their pre-service teacher training and they have got experience and expertise in working with children who have severe disabilities or disadvantages. They have got their some special needs and these teachers are trained to teach these children. That is why we call them special teachers or special educators. Earlier, maybe 10-15 years back, these special teachers used to work in the special schools where their interaction was entirely limited or focused to children with special needs. But nowadays, after the implementation of Right to Education Act in India, we are opening our doors. When I am saying we are, I mean the regular schools. The regular schools are opening their doors to special teachers so that they can be part of regular schools and take care of children with special needs who are part and parcel of now the regular schools. Now, what do these special teachers learn in their pre-service teacher training, which needs to be modified so that their role in regular schools becomes more clear? The special teachers pre-service teacher training doesn't help them to understand how to link IEP with regular class curriculum which is being followed by regular students. Now, what this IEP is? IEP is Individualized Education Program. Individualized Education Program is designed keeping in mind one particular child with disability and the entire curriculum, the yearly curriculum, the weekly curriculum, the assessments, the teaching learning methods, the worksheets, everything is part of your individualized education program, which is designed for a particular child by the special teachers. Now, when these special teachers are in the regular school and assisting or maybe helping the regular teacher in teaching the curricular areas, these special teachers do not know how to link the individualized education program with the regular curriculum which is being followed by the regular students. Second thing for which the special teachers are not trained in is how to manage diverse learning needs in larger groups. The special teachers pre-service teacher training has prepared them to deal with children with special needs in small group settings, maybe 1 to 5 children in a group. But as you are aware, in our regular schools, we have large groups, maybe 30, 40, 45 children in our classrooms, and in this large group we have children with special needs who also needs to be involved in the regular classroom teaching learning. So the special teachers pre-service teacher training needs to be updated so that special teachers also learn how to be a useful part and effective part of our regular schools. Another thing is the special teachers need to understand that children with special needs are now part of regular classrooms and they are not to be excluded from the regular classrooms, but they have to learn within the regular classroom with support from resource room, from support from them and support from therapists also. The pre-service teacher training of special teachers also need to teach them how to work in collaboration with regular teachers in regular school setting, that is in inclusive classrooms. In the beginning I told you the special teachers in earlier times they were limited to, their work area was limited to only special schools and special children. But after the implementation of Right to Education Act, the special teachers are finding themselves in regular schools also, but their pre-service teacher training need to teach them how to collaborate with regular teachers so that CWSN sitting in the regular classrooms feel part of the regular classroom system. Similarly, in our schools, we have physical educators also. These are the teachers who are commonly known as games and sports teachers. They are the ones who help children in developing their talents, their creativity in sports, and they assist in playing various games and sports in the schools. Now, these physical education teachers also need to undergo teacher training, professional teacher training, just like special educators or our regular subject teachers. Now, what happens there in their physical education teacher training? Again, these teachers who have undergone physical education teacher training, their courses doesn't prepare them to take care of children with special needs in the sports ground, and neither do they feel competent to make changes in the physical education activities to include CWSN. Now, once again friends, remember, now in our school system we have 3 types of teachers who are working with our children. One, who are the subject teachers, like who taught us mathematics, English, Hindi, history. Another one is the special educator who is there to help the children with special needs and diverse needs adjust and being part of our school system. And third, the physical education teachers or the games and sports teacher. All these 3 teachers are there in our regular schools, which are now becoming more and more inclusive day by day due to presence of children with diverse needs. All these 3 teachers need to learn about inclusive pedagogy practices in their pre-service teacher training. Whatever we have discussed so far, this is inferred from experience and observation of pre-service teacher training degree programs, both as a trainee and as a teacher educator. So now it's clear why we need to make our pre-service teacher training programs more inclusive and why we need to prepare our teachers to work in inclusive classroom settings. Now we will see in the next slide how to make our teacher training programs inclusive. And for this we will need a criteria to say whether the course is inclusive or not. When I am saying courses inclusive, I mean whether the pre-service professional teacher training degree course will prepare a teacher to work in an inclusive classroom setting or not. So it's a 5-point criteria, and the very first point is the course preparing a teacher to identify the learning needs of students arising due to disabilities, gender, social and economical disadvantages. You know, disability, each category of disability, gender has its own issues, social settings and economical settings, economic conditions of a child creates different kind of challenges. So disability, gender, social and economic situation of a child creates the issues and challenges which the teacher needs to identify, that due to these challenges are there special learning needs of the child and how to identify them. This issue pre-service teacher training needs to address and prepare the future teachers so that they can identify the learning needs which a child may have due to maybe being a girl child, maybe being a girl child with disabilities, or a girl child coming from a lower socioeconomic strata of the society. So this is the very first point with which we judge a pre-service teacher training course, whether it is preparing a teacher to work in the inclusive classrooms or not. The second point is the course preparing teachers to do modifications in teaching learning activities based on the needs of students. Now what is this? Once we have identified the learning needs of students arising due to various factors like disability, gender, social, economical disadvantages, next step is the teacher training course should help the teachers in modifying the designed teaching learning activities. Now this designed teaching learning activities is common terms is known as lesson planning. So the lesson that the teacher has prepared, they should be able to modify that lesson as per the needs of the children in his or her classroom. Third point of our criteria is whether the course is preparing teachers to teach in inclusive classrooms rather than in segregated settings. Now, all the three types of teachers should be prepared to teach children together in an inclusive classroom settings, that is, many children sitting together and studying the same curriculum, including children with disabilities, children from lower socioeconomic sections of the society, or children may be having other disadvantages. So the teacher training curriculum and the pre-service course should prepare our future teachers to teach in the inclusive classrooms in large number, in large groups rather than in smaller groups, and that too in segregated settings. Fourth point is the pre-service teacher training course should prepare teachers to make teaching, learning and assessment activities accessible to all students. Now, this is very important. You might have prepared your TLM, you might have taught in the inclusive classrooms, but when it comes to evaluation, a child may need a little large font question paper. This is the slight modification the child may need, but is the teacher training pre-service teacher training preparing my teachers to give this slight adapted evaluation to a child who needs it? That is why this point needs to be there in the criteria for judging whether the course is inclusive or not. And the last but not the least is, we know that we are very clear that in a school various kind of teachers are working. So the essential aspect is whether the pre-service teacher training programs are preparing my subject teachers, my special teachers, my physical education teachers to work in collaboration with each other. Because you know, when there are children with special needs in the classrooms, these three kind of teachers are not the only professionals who have to work as a team. There are occupational therapists also, there are rehabilitation therapists also, then there are physiotherapists also, who has to work along with teachers and parents so that the children with special needs become effective part of the classroom process. It's a very beautiful cartoon. Here is a scene where a teacher is talking to another person and she is saying, "Can you help me, Mrs. Martin? This isn't covered in any of my education courses." Isn't it beautiful? Making the pre-service teacher education inclusive. How do we make it? In general education, which is preparing teachers to teach subjects like history, physics, geography, mathematics and language, various courses are offered by the universities by the name of BSc B.Ed, BA B.Ed, MA B.Ed, MSc B.Ed or B.Ed, simple B.Ed. Prior to NCT's latest guidelines about pre-service teacher training degree courses, lots of variations were appearing in our universities, and somewhere the B.Ed was in semester mode and somewhere the B.Ed was 1 year, and in some universities they were offering 2-year B.Eds. Now after this 2014 regulations by National Council of Teacher Education, the B.Ed courses across India have become uniform as far as their duration and semester system is concerned. So now no university in India is offering courses which is less than 2-year duration, and each course is of 4 semester. And in this 2-year B.Ed course, apart from this 2-year B.Ed course, we have integrated courses like BSc B.Ed, BA B.Ed, etc. And for these integrated courses, we have various theory papers that a teacher trainee needs to study in order to become a teacher. And this first group of papers is called Perspective in Education, which is further divided into 3 subgroups known as General Education, Education Foundations and Educational Studies. Now in the General Education, the very first paper is Language and Communication. In this course, the teacher trainee is made aware of various issues with language and how to enhance their communication skills and how to communicate so that each child become part of their own classrooms. And it doesn't appear that the teacher is speaking of something else and students are understanding some other issue. But how to make this paper, this theory course, how to modify this theory course so that our teachers, the would-be teachers, become expert in teaching in the inclusive classrooms. And this can be done by slight modification, that is by talking about braille scripts and other communication systems such as picture exchange, art forms, art-based communication, ICT-based communication initiatives, so that the regular teacher who is undergoing this teacher training understands that verbal communication is not the only media to communicate with the child. There might be a child in his or her classroom who needs to communicate through braille script, maybe through sign language or maybe through picture-based communication. So in this paper, we have scope to make it inclusive by involving and discussing other forms of communication. Then we have another paper in our B.Ed program, which is Critical and Creative Thinking. In this course, the teacher trainees are taught how they can increase their skills of critical and creative thinking. In this paper, we can make it inclusive by understanding first that skills of critical and creative thinking are important for everybody, including children with disabilities and children belonging to disadvantaged sections of the society. The child with disability needs to learn to analyze the situations where she needs to use some aids and equipments and therapies, and critical and creative thinking are the 2 life skills that are an essential part of daily living skills of children with disabilities. You and I learn our daily living skills like brushing, dressing up with the help of our parents. But children with disabilities require specialized program to learn these daily living skills. And critical and creative thinking are 2 important skills which can become very effective in easy learning of daily living skills by children with disabilities. ICT for teaching learning is another theory course the teacher trainees are required to study, and this course can be made more inclusive by teaching the trainee teachers how to use ICT for making their own classes effective and interactive. In the same course, the trainees may also be encouraged to learn how to meet the special learning needs of students using ICT. Now, all these small modifications that I am suggesting in the theory courses these are very slight adaptations, additions which we can make to the existing course curriculum of pre-service teacher training, so that our future teachers are more expert in teaching, in addressing the diverse needs in an inclusive classroom. Then we have papers, other theory courses and papers like Indian Constitution and Human Rights. This paper usually discusses all the education commissions and all the developments in education, and this can also be made inclusive by making our teacher trainees aware of the child rights and all the special schemes and all the acts and provisions for children with special needs. Similarly, in the theory course on environment education, we can include topics related to sensitization of pre-service teachers towards issues and concerns that may include diverse experience of learners about their local environment. That was all about integrated courses. Now we have 2-year B.Ed also, and in 2-year B.Ed also the teacher trainees need to learn about various courses. The very first course that they study is Contemporary India in Education. This is about what the present time India is, what are the education policies here, and what the student teachers learn under this theory course. Now this course can be made inclusive by adding few things here and there. Say for example, this course should reflect on diversity emerging due to social perspectives and disabilities along with its implications for education. This course should also reflect upon status of education policies, legislations, recommendations of various commissions with respect to children with special needs. Similarly, in the course on learning and teaching, this is another course which the teacher trainee studying in B.Ed needs to thoroughly understand before he or she can become a teacher. Now this course should help the pre-service teachers to develop understanding of learning needs and learning styles of children with special needs. Mode of transaction of this course may include visit to the schools, NGOs, government organizations related to special education, video of lessons, examples of children's records, both in inclusive and special school setups relevant for an inclusive setup. This is an essential part of our pre-service teacher training, because here the trainees become familiar with various methodologies of teaching and how children learn. And children with special needs, which are now an essential part of their classrooms, their issues about learning and the special help they might need during teaching learning, all these should be part of this theory course only. Now pedagogy of a school subject. All those who have done their B.Ed, they remember that every teacher trainee need to learn pedagogy of a school subject. Pedagogy is basically how to teach a school subject. Say, if I am a maths teacher, I must have learned in my pre-service teacher training how to teach mathematics, how to design mathematical worksheets, how to engage students in mathematics learning, self-learning also. Now, in this pedagogy of a school subject, it's a group of courses out of which the teacher trainees select 2 courses, maybe depending on the universities who are offering that particular program. In this course, if our pre-service teachers are taught about specific pedagogies and how these pedagogies can be applied in an inclusive setup so that everybody sitting in the classroom feel part of the lesson, then we have done our job. This is a very slight modification. Say for example, under this pedagogy of a school subject paper, a teacher trainee is taught how to develop a lesson plan. Then that lesson plan should have activities with slight modifications to include special needs students also. Okay. Similarly, we have other papers also here in this pre-service teacher training courses, and all the things that we have just now done, I have just now shared with you, they apply equally to our other 2 pre-service teacher training courses like special education and physical education. In physical education, we have courses like history, principle and foundation of physical education, and this course, as the name suggests, that we are talking about what is the history and principle and foundation of physical education. Here, if the teacher trainees are taught what is the relationship of physical education with general education and how children with special needs can be made more participative in the physical education, then we have made this course also inclusive and our teacher training will also become inclusive. Similarly, in this paper also we are talking about Special Olympics and Paralympics and contribution of athletes with special needs. Say for example, you might have heard of a swimmer who cannot hear properly and he participated very well in the Olympic Games. Similarly, we can have few assignments in our physical education pre-service teacher training, like we can administer a questionnaire or conduct an interview with physical education teachers of a school about psychosocial barriers in the inclusion of CWSN in our physical education classes. Now, I'll quickly revise what we have done so far. We started with why we need to make our pre-service teacher training programs inclusive, because we knew that our regular teachers are not trained to handle classrooms with children with special needs. Similarly, the special educators need to taught how to work in collaboration with other teachers and specialists so that the child with special needs participate effectively in the classroom activities. And sports and physical education teachers also need to learn how to modify the rules of the games, the procedure of the game, so that children with disabilities, children with other disadvantaged sections of society, they also become part and parcel of their sports and games activities. Now for this, the three types of pre-service teacher training degree programs need not make huge changes in their course structure, in their theory papers. They only need to make slight modifications in their existing curriculum and course and topic structure, so that the pre-service teacher trainees who are our future teachers, who will be there in our regular schools to work with all type of children, they know how to identify the needs, how to modify the curriculum, how to make everybody part and parcel of their classrooms. Now this we need to do during our pre-service teacher training. And if all this relies heavily on our pre-service teacher training, then these pre-service teacher training curriculum needs to conform to a criteria, needs to conform to a basis so that they can be called inclusive. So let's very quickly revise all these 5 points. These are teacher training course preparing teachers to identify the learning needs of students arising due to gender, disability, social and economic disadvantages. Is my teacher training course teaching the teachers to do modifications in teaching learning activities based on the needs of students? Is it teaching the future teachers to teach in inclusive classrooms rather than in segregated settings? Is it teaching the future teachers to make teaching, learning and assessment activities accessible to all students? And is my course the teachers to work in collaboration with other professionals? In short, by making slight modifications in my theory courses, by designing assignments so that future teachers become sensitive towards the special needs of students who might be learning physics, who might be learning chemistry, who are ready to learn mathematics, but as a teacher I may not be knowing how to involve a particular child in my teaching learning, I can be a good teacher. And it all depends how well my pre-service course trains me to do well in the presence of CWS. So friends, thank you.